What if the life that you truly want to live isn't something that you have to quit your job to start, that you could actually start doing something today for that dream job or that dream opportunity that you're looking for? So today we're going to talk about that a very topic. So many people feel like you have to wait for the perfect opportunity, the perfect time, the perfect plan to get started on that little dream project that you have. But you don't have to. And we have our expert here today to tell us all about that. My guest today is Kate Volman, and she is an executive coach. She's a certified dream manager. She's a speaker and the author of Do What You Love. I love that title, Do What You Love. She has spent over 20 years helping individuals and organizations uncover what inspires them and helps turn their dreams into reality. She is the CEO of Floyd Coaching. And she's an executive coach, and she's a writer, and she explores all kinds of themes and purpose and creative expression. She's just a powerhouse of knowledge on this dreaming, and we're going to talk about dreaming big. And that seems to be a buzzword these days, is dream big. Well, you don't have to dream big. You can even have small dreams, and that's okay too. So I just want to welcome today, Kate. Thank you for being here with us today and talking about dreams.
Well, Zelda, thanks so much for having me. I'm so excited for the conversation.
Me too. So I'm just going to just jump right into my questions and say that, well, many people, they hear, do what you love, you have a purpose. Well, they honestly don't know what they want to do. So how do they figure out what it is that maybe their purposes or what they really love to do?
So, yeah, it's always interesting when purpose, and that's different. That purpose is a different thing than some of the dreams that you shared. And I love that you made the distinction when people say dream big and you said, but maybe you have some small dreams. It's like your dreams are your dreams. Like some people believe, my dream has to be this big, mighty, like I have a yacht and I live on the ocean and I travel to Europe 3 times a week. I was going to say 3 times a week, 3 times a year, and like all of these things. And if those are your dreams, amazing. But your dreams they could be, look, I run a coaching company. We certify dream managers. So we help people achieve their dreams every day. And it's tapping into what are those things that you really want for yourself, for your family. And the dreams that people have, when we do a dream storm with them, things show up like buying their first home. A lot of people have financial dreams. Everyone wants to get out of debt or be financially free. People want to spend a lot more time with their family, have a better relationship with their significant other. Many people have a dream of some type of fitness, right? Like getting healthy and fit, losing some weight.
I want to lose 40 pounds tomorrow.
It's like there's always like those fitness dreams that we have. And so that's really where to start. So many people have stopped dreaming. And so to grab some friends, grab some people that you care about and start asking them about their dreams. And when you do that, you're going to have these conversations with people. They're going to say, wow, I really want to go to New Zealand. I really want to, take a trip to a road trip somewhere, or I want to go see someone in concert. So it's really starting to develop the dream muscle again that so many people have lost, and just get dreaming, right? Like so many people we just live these lives where it's just to-do lists and we have to get things done. And so we've stopped allowing ourselves to really dream and write down your dreams. Like, what is it that you really want in your life?
So Kate, how do you distinguish between something that's a temporary interest and something that's genuinely aligned with what your purpose is?
I don't know. I kind of feel
like I will tell you that for me, sometimes I'll go, I want to go do whatever, go to Europe. And then the next thing I'll look up what it's all involved in. I go, you know what? I don't really want to do that. So that's kind of a quick thing. But maybe you're on this trajectory where you're building something and all of a sudden you're midway there or a little bit there and you think maybe this isn't for me.
Okay. Yeah, got it. Okay. So I'm going to share with you the process that we go through with the clients that we work with. Like I said, we do a big dream storm. This just gets your dreaming muscle going, right? So it's like we have these questions that we ask people. So like where do you want to take a road trip? Who do you want to have a better relationship with? We ask people. So you're digging into all these different areas of life, right? So it kind of gets them dreaming. In the book, The Dream Manager by Matthew Kelly, he shares the 12 categories of dreams. So there's there's physical, emotional, intellectual, spiritual, creative, psychological. There's all these different areas of dreams that most people don't tap into. Most people have a professional dream, a material dream, financial dream, but do you have a spiritual dream? So it's helping people go through all of those categories, come up with their list of 100 dreams. We always encourage people to create their list of 100 dreams. We get a lot of pushback, like, that's way too many dreams. But you put down that list. Then you look through that list. Now, not everyone gets to 100, and that's awesome, wonderful. Like, the point is really to just stretch yourself.
Push that limit. Yeah. Push.
Yeah. So maybe you have a list of 64 dreams. Then you get to look at that list and you decide, okay, which of these really matters to me most right now? Which ones are most important to me right now? And we also have this really beautiful priority exercise, because there might be some people that say, I have 10 dreams and I cannot decide which one I really want to focus on. So we help them with this priority exercise to come up with, all right, what are the 2 dreams that are most important for you to achieve this year in 12 months? Then what is one dream that's maybe it's a 3-year dream? Maybe you don't want to, maybe you would love to take that trip to Europe, but that's more like, you know what, I could hold off on that. That's a 3-year dream. And then a 5+ year dream. So now you have this 4 or 5 dreams that you're really focused on that's going to help you. And of course, the 2 dreams that you're focused on for the year are the ones that you're going to pay attention to make sure that you're achieving it in that 12-month period. And what's interesting is this is why pursuing our dreams is so important, because what you asked was, well, what if down the line I realized this isn't a dream? Great. Like, you discovered something about that dream. And I would guess that most of the time what happens is, let's say you're like in the middle of achieving that or pursuing this dream. You've met someone, you've gained some skills, you've gotten yourself into different people and groups. So maybe that dream is no longer important to you because you discovered something else that you never would have discovered had you not been pursuing that dream. And now that dream takes over. So that dream had a purpose. It had a reason to be in your life, even if you never achieve it. That's why the pursuit of our dreams is just as important as achieving them.
Interesting. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. I get that. So sometimes people want to start on these dreams. Maybe it's the dream job. I would think most people, it's like, they're like, I don't like what I'm doing. I want a new job. But you can't quit that day job because it's paying the bills. It's paying the mortgage. It's paying keeping the lights on. It's doing all that stuff. What kind of advice would you give them about going after their dream, but not get into a financial panic because they have the bills to pay?
Yeah, I mean, this is really where these step-by-step actions come into play, right? For people that if you don't enjoy your work, you can come up at it from 2 different perspectives. The first is, okay, I want to find something new, right? So maybe that's really what your priority is over the next 6 months. You're going to not just leave and quit and hope for the best, but you're going to decide, okay, what does that mean for me? That means in the next 6 months, I have to be looking for a job. I have to be networking. I have to, you're a big proponent of things happen because you meet new people, you have new connections. It's all about relationships. So that's the next six to 12 months is going to really be focused on building your network, talking to different people, seeing what it is that you'd really enjoy doing that's different from what you're doing, or maybe at a different company. And so that's a dream that you have to put some energy towards. And then the other thing that I really encourage people to do is if you're at a place in your job where you feel a little frustrated, you feel like, I don't know, should I leave? Figure out, like, what do you enjoy about the work and what do you dislike? Because what I have found in working with some people who say, I have to leave, I want to find something else, when they actually write down like what's their dream job, and that comes from like the things they do every day, the flexibility, the relationship they have with their leader, oftentimes what happens is they actually do enjoy a lot of it. Like, it meets a lot of the criteria. There are some things that maybe they want to change, but as we know, nothing in life is like there's always going to be something that you do, whether you run a business, have a business, or you have a job, like that you're going to do some things that maybe you don't love to do. And so it's kind of like really just assessing and getting real with yourself. Like,
yeah,
do I really want to leave, or am I just really itching for maybe some creative expression? And if you can't express that creativity in your job, what does that look like outside of work? Before we pressed record, you said, I really love podcasting. This is such a passion project for me. People want to podcast. Maybe they want to do videos. They want to have a YouTube channel. They want to garden or take dance classes or learn to play the guitar. Like there's so many activities that people have stopped pursuing in their life because they think, well, I'm not going to spend a bunch of time learning piano because I'm not a pianist, or I'm not going to learn guitar because I'm not going to be in a band. But there's so much joy that you get from those activities.
Oh gosh, yes.
Yeah. So
my son, as an adult, my son started taking piano lessons. I'm like, really? And he's wonderful. And he started just like, I met a woman last night and she was telling me how she just recently retired. And I go, well, what are you doing to fill up your time? And she goes, I'm so busy. I said, well, what are you doing? She said, well, one thing I did was, she said, I started Mahjong. I said, Mahjong? She said, yeah. And I taught myself from YouTube. A lot of these people, they're learning things from YouTube and then go.
Yeah.
And I hear that a lot though, Kate, is a lot of retired people, they're like, okay, now what do I do? It's like rediscovering what were your interests when you were younger. Do you want to pursue those again, or do you want to try something new? So it sounds to me from what you're saying is there's a lot of actually strategy involved with trying to figure out what you want to do and then pursuing it. There's a lot of strategy that goes into that.
Yeah, I mean, for some of the people that you're talking about, if they don't know, then yeah, there's a strategy around how am I going to figure this out and then start to work towards it. Whereas some people, I have some friends, they are so creative. They're like, I don't have enough lifetime to pursue all the things that I'm interested in, right? Like they have businesses where they have a job and they play an instrument and they're involved in the community and they sit on boards and they write and they do all the things and they love it. So I just think, I talk about this in the book, like we are all creative. Every single person that's listening is creative. And some people will push back and say, no, I'm not. I don't have a creative bone in my body. But your creativity is the way that you approach something. It's how you have conversations and develop relationships with your friends. It's how you think about life and how you're pursuing your dreams. Like we're all creative in our own way. And you have these passions, like you have these curiosities, and we just stop noticing. Right? Like we stop noticing. Like I often use poetry as an example because for me, it was probably around 2020, like when everyone was stuck at home and everything. I got really into poetry and it was never something that I really explored before. And then I started realizing, wow, I really love poetry, reading it, writing it, studying it, learning from other poets. And I got really involved in these different poetry communities. And as people do when they get into something new, you're like, wow, there's a whole world that I had no idea, but there's podcasts about poetry and people YouTubing and like people teaching poetry workshops. And like, there's this this new world to me, but to somebody else, they've been in that world for years and years. And so it's so fun. Like even with podcasting, right? It's like, if you've never started a podcast, you don't know what to do. And then you realize, oh my gosh, there's like millions of people that are podcasting. And it's this really cool community of people that are doing incredible things. And so we get to learn from each other. So I always encourage people to follow your curiosity. Like, what does that look like in your world? Maybe you think one day you're thinking, oh, I would, I have a granddaughter going to be born soon. And maybe I'm going to crochet. Like, why not? I'm going to crochet a little.
Oh, no. Well, I have a grandson. He's now, I think he's 8. And when my daughter was pregnant with him 8 years ago, I said, I think I'll make him a baby's blanket. It's still not finished.
Oh my gosh. But you tried.
It's there every night when I can't sleep. I'll do a couple of things, It's like one day when he graduates from college, I'll give it to him.
Oh my, right? I mean, but like, that's such a cool story.
But I don't quit. So, and besides, I don't quit. So interesting that what you're saying is, you're starting, not my knitting project, but if somebody is trying to do something and they hit that wall, and how do you push through that wall? Not my knitting one. That's But what do you advise them for how to push through that? They don't want to quit, but how do you push through?
That's part of, so in the book I shared the 7 myths that stop people from pursuing their passions. And so my question to the person that is stuck would really be to identify what's the thing that's stopping them. For some people, it's imposter syndrome. They feel like, oh, who am I to write a book or to have a podcast or to put something out into the world? For some people, it's perfectionism. Like they cannot let something go. You know, I have lots of friends that love to write and they have articles and poems and stories and they just will not, they want to put it online, but they will not let themselves because it's not done yet. It's not, I'm like, it's never going to be perfect.
Right.
And so that's a big one. And then myth 7 that was one of my favorites to write is about inspiration will strike. That's the myth. Inspiration will strike. It doesn't strike. So oftentimes we'll feel like maybe we are procrastinating on a project and we think, oh, I'll do it tomorrow because I'm just waiting for that inspiration. But that inspiration does not come. In fact, creative people, especially because I love reading about the writing process, the creative process, and how anyone creates. And it's across the board. Inspiration comes after you start doing the work. Like when you don't feel like writing, but you sit down and write anyway, you get the like you get the inspiration. You continue to keep going. So I wish I had a better answer, but honestly,
that's a good answer. In fact,
you gotta do it. You just have to do it.
That's what I tell people when they go, okay, Zelda, you've written a few books. I've got a book inside me, but I just can't, how do you get started? I go, you just open up your computer and start typing.
Yeah.
And don't forget, somebody said, well, I'm worried about the structure. I said, forget structure. Just get all your thoughts onto the computer and you can worry about how you want to reorganize it and edit it later. Just get your thoughts onto the paper.
Yeah.
So what part does mentorship play in achieving one's dream and unlocking your potential?
Mentorship and community is huge. I refer to some of my friends as my creative friends. I think we all need creative friends, and creative friends simply means these are people that are actively pursuing their dreams. They are putting in the work, right? Like they know what it takes to create something. They know what it takes to achieve their dreams, and to surround yourself with those kinds of people really help and support you. Getting in community with people that are doing something that you want to do, to find that mentorship, to find that coach, right? Like obviously I run a coaching company. So of course I promote coaching and the importance of having a coach. And a big part of why people invest in a coach is simply to not only help them with whatever it is that whatever dream they're trying to achieve, but hold them accountable to doing what they said they were going to do.
Absolutely.
Like, when I wrote the book, I realized I really want to be a better writer. So what does that mean? That means I hired a coach. I hired a writing coach, and not only to help me finish the book, but I wanted the book to be as good as it possibly could. So she was awesome because I learned so much about writing, and I got it done so much quicker because first of all, I was investing in it, right? Like if you pay for something, you're like, oh, I'm actually going to do the thing. I'm going to do the work. I'm making the investment. And she kept me on track. I was like, week 1, week 2, week 3, like I finished it in so much more time, like less time than I would have otherwise had I not hired a coach. So, it really depends on like how serious you are about a particular dream. When some people come to us, they're like, I have been talking about this dream for 5 years. I worked with a guy. He talked about writing a book for 5 years. 5 years. Finally invested in coaching. He wrote and published his book within 12 months. And no joke, he wrote a second book.
I believe it.
A year later.
Funny thing is, I interviewed last week. I think she was on a couple of weeks ago, Peggy McCall, Dr. Peggy McCall, and she helps authors get their books out there. People who are stuck, thinking about it for 10 years, and helps them get published. And you don't have to be self-published. She can help you with figuring it all out. So I definitely believe in coaching. I have a real estate coach that's like, yeah, she's the best. So, and the interesting thing about coaching was when she asked me, well, what are your goals? And she said, I don't want your goals to be what they were last year, because you can do that on your own. You don't need me to help you get those goals. Not that I had to have bigger goals, but like, let's talk about some other goals that you can achieve that she can help me achieve, which was brilliant. And it was like, oh, this is good. She's been great, actually. I've got a great real estate coach. So coaching, I totally believe in it. It's been a game changer for me. So
Yeah.
coaching.
Yeah.
We definitely need the coaching. So somebody wants to start their new dream of whatever it is, whether it's a job or a hobby or just a special love project. What would be the first couple of steps you would tell them to do to start to achieve that goal?
So the first thing is to decide, right? To make that decision that you're committed to doing something. We have to give ourselves permission, right? Like a lot of people, they're waiting for permission. Someone should tell me like, yes, do the thing that you say you want to do. No, like you are your own permission slip. You don't need it from anyone else.
Mm-hmm.
So make that decision to do it. Then what you do is you look at, okay, what's this dream? Like I want to start a podcast. And then the next thing would be to like start to break that down. Like what's the simplest step that you can take between now and a week from now or a month from now that's going to just move you forward? Because what the biggest challenge is that most people do is like, we have these big dreams. Like I want to write a book, right? I'm sure a lot of your listeners want to write a book. Lots of people want to write a book. So it's like, I have this big idea of writing a book. Well, because you've written books, you don't sit down one afternoon and write the book and here I am and it's done.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't work that way. But it's so often our brains start thinking, well, okay, I want to write this book. It's such a big project. Like I don't even know how to break it down.
It's the elephant in the room.
Yeah. It's like, so we've got to break it down into like the simplest thing. So I would often say, just like what you said to your friend, okay, you want to write this book. All you have to do is sit down and write. So what does that mean? Okay, why don't you give yourself a goal? Like the end project is the book, but over the next month, give yourself a goal of at least 3 days a week, you're going to write, whether it's for 30 minutes or like I gave myself a goal to write every day at least 250 words. I gave myself a word count. Some people do a time frame. So what does that look like? Okay, three times a week, I'm going to write at least 250 words. And by the end of the month, I'll have this many words. And so like that you can do. You can't sit down and write the book, but you can decide I'm going to write for 30 minutes.
Bite-sized pieces.
Yeah. So break it down into those bite-sized pieces. Once you start doing that consistently, you're going to start to see the momentum.
Yeah.
Like people thrive on progress. We want to make progress. So if you're making progress on a dream, it's going to fuel you to continue to do it. So you start writing and then you're like, oh, okay. And now you can start to think through like, I mean, look, there's all different types of ways to write a book. So everyone's got to come up with their own action step that they're gonna take. Like writing a book is interesting because it is helpful to like have an outline, what that looks like. But for some people, it's like it's easier to just start writing because it gets them out of their head.
I'd be willing to bet that when you start with that project of I'm going to do 250 words each time I sit down 3 times a week, or I'm going to give myself 15 or 30 minutes a week, whatever that is, I'll bet you that once you get started, you do way more than those 250 words or the 30 minutes that you allotted. I know we had Denise Beeball, I believe that did not pronounce that name right, but Denise, she is an organizer, and we were talking about how you organize. And it's the same thing. It's the process of giving yourself 15 minutes a day and say, then I'll stop. And I found that I was not doing 15 minutes. I'd have Alexa set for 15 minutes and it would be 30 minutes, an hour goes by because you get into whatever it is you're doing. So yeah, but small little bite-sized pieces are beautiful.
Yeah.
So just start,
Yes,
start.
I know, right?
Like the friend who wanted to learn Mahjong, just start, open up a YouTube channel. My son who learned how to play the piano, he started with a YouTube and then now he takes piano lessons and he's been doing it for maybe 4 or 5 years now. I mean, he's a grown adult. He plays gorgeous music. I mean, just beautiful classical music. It's beautiful. So yeah. We have so much access. In fact, my little niece, she's 9 years old and she's in the band at school. It's adorable. She plays the flute, but she also just loves music. So she started teaching herself piano on YouTube. Yeah.
Like you can find a way to learn any skill
Anything.
with all of this stuff. Like I have a membership to Masterclass and BBC Maestro and like all these like
Yep.
experts that share how they do certain things. And we can learn so much from the experts that have already done the things that we're interested in.
And that's how you find out if that's something you really want to pursue or not, is check these things out, check the ideas out. And if you decide it's not going to be for you, like I was going to learn how to do fused glass. I used to do stained glass when I was much younger. I picked it up again recently. And then I thought, well, I'm going to do fused glass. But it was so complicated and very scientific because you have to time things and temperatures and all kinds of, it just got so complicated for me. I said, you know what? I think I'll stick to something that's a little easier for me, at least at this point in my life. So it's like, whoa, I'm backing off on that one. But anyway, well, I've learned a lot from you today. This is awesome. I'm going to start in smaller little pieces now. So tell us, how can our audience, our listeners out here, how can they reach you if they want to contact you? Maybe they want to have you as a coach or whatever. They want to talk about your books. How can they reach you?
Oh yeah, the easiest way is to find me at katevolman.com. And our dream manager is thedreammanager.com. So that's where we help people achieve their dreams.
Oh, that's awesome. So I have a signature question I ask all my audience, all my guests. And so are you ready for it?
I am ready.
You're ready for it. So can you share a story of how an opportunity presented itself to you because of a connection that you had?
Yes, so it's actually funny because I used to work at a chamber of commerce and it was all about connection, right? Like that was my job. My job was networking and connecting people and meeting people. And I was at one point responsible for getting all of our speakers for the trustee program. So it was that high level, like the CEO program for CEOs. So I got to bring in a lot of the speakers. And I found this author named Matthew Kelly, who wrote the book, The Dream Manager, and brought him in, had him speak at our event. Absolutely fell in love with the book, the concept, just the idea behind helping people with their dreams. And I just was all in. And so he and I became friends. Like we stayed connected over the years. And, I would call him a couple times a year just to check in. And meanwhile, at this point, he's written over 40 books, sold over 50 million copies, like just wildly successful, has 5 kids, all the things. Anyway, so about 7 years ago, one of the times that I reached out to him, he had connected with me and said, hey, let's have lunch. And we went and had lunch. I mean, this was like 15 years after he and I originally met and had a conversation. And I've been at Floyd Consulting as the CEO for 7+ years now.
Oh, that's a beautiful
So
story.
life-changing story, like never in a million years. I still laugh today. I'm like, I cannot believe that I get to work side by side with this man who I just have appreciated his work these many years. And all because I reached out to him to speak at a chamber event.
Because you just never know. I mean, success doesn't happen in isolation. I say that every single week, that success happens because of the connections that we have, because connections really are your superpower. And it's where it's at today. Connections are your currency.
Yes.
That's just the truth. So to our audience, thank you for being here today. If you enjoyed this episode, and I'm sure that you did, be sure you follow and hit subscribe so that you don't miss one episode, because we release a new episode every single Tuesday morning and you don't want to miss one. I am Zelda Greenberg, your host of Success Through Connections. But in addition to being a host of this great podcast, I am also your realtor. I'm a realtor that helps people navigate some of their biggest transactions with clarity and confidence. So if you know somebody who's looking to move, especially in Florida, I'm your go-to realtor, and I'll see you next week with a new episode of Success Through Connections.